can you explain a little bit how do you think that, what kind of role is a teacher?
Okay, so for me, teaching is like, taking material, like, information about a subject and somehow delivering it to your students. But I don't think that like the role of the teacher is to like take all that information and like feed it straight, from mouth to ear. I think that's kind of pointless. Like as a teacher, my role is more to get my students to do things that are going to make them learn about the subject that we are covering. So, I mean, that's why we do things like reading, but then we don't just say, okay, we read it, that's great, but now we say, okay, let's talk about it, like, what does this mean? Like, what does it mean for you? And that's why, like, I try to get my students to go out and do things instead of, like, just, people always say, like, regurgitate the information that we've gone over. Because otherwise, it seems like, the way a university would work would be to like take the best teacher in the world, record that person, and have everybody watch the video.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, that's not teaching. Like teaching needs to be interaction between a teacher, a student, and the information. So Socrates, ancient Greek philosopher, like he said that the role of a teacher, or his own role as a teacher, was to be like a midwife, like delivering a baby. So it's kind of like the same thing, like you're trying to bring the student into the world of the information that you're trying to present. So so something like that, that's how I view teaching. Is that too much?
Yeah, I get it. Then do you think that sometimes teacher also have to be like a controller to the class as well in some different situations?
What do you mean controller?
Like maybe sometimes the class, the direction is going wrong. Like for example, the teacher wants to deliver some message, but it appears that all the students have some wrong direction, like they understand it the wrong way. So maybe the teacher in this case might start to stop letting the students think independently. They should start to take in charge and start to make them follow them.
Oh, sure. So, I mean, there's definitely room for that in the classroom. Like, you can, you're steering the ship. Like, you're the rudder that's steering the ship, right? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, at the same time, like, you're all on the ship, right? So I'm not getting behind every student and pushing them. Like, we're all in this together, and I'm kind of, like, trying to steer us in the right direction. At the same time, that's not always appropriate. Like, students need to come to decisions on their own. So, I mean, in terms of understanding and knowledge, yeah, I think it's right to direct. But in terms of like values and identity, I think that's something that, I mean, we can try to steer students in, but it's something they need to come to for themselves.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.